Hello and welcome to the final episode on this series of SYNLAB Podcast. I'm kind of sad that we've come to the end of this series because it has been such an educational series. We've learned a lot and we have been learning about how to live well with arthritis. My name is Patsy Mokungah and I'm still your host. With me here has been the very, very helpful Dr. Ifudu, who has joined us all the way from Enugu just for this series. Thank you very much, sir. Your presence with us has been really, really helpful. It has been very, very educational. We're very, very glad to have you here with us so far. Now, in this last episode, we're going to be focusing on nutrition, emotional support, and how to live fully with arthritis. So far, so good. We've talked about what arthritis is, what the treatment options are for arthritis, how to take control of arthritis by making tweaks in your daily lifestyle and, to more or less come full circle. Now we're going to be talking about nutrition, emotional support, and, just life generally. We're going to complete the circle. So, Dr. Ifudu, can you help us, shed some light on what we can do to what in terms of diet now, like food, what foods can help reduce inflammation? What foods should we, move towards? What food should we avoid in the treatment of arthritis?
Foods can reduce inflammation. They also have leafy greens and berries. Those were the ones that are being taught to reduce inflammation. Then, for those ones that you should avoid, like the red meats, the offals, and also alcohol. So why should you avoid these ones, like purine rich? Purine rich in the sense that they actually lead to deposition of the uric acid. And this uric acid, when they are deposited in joints, they cause some forms of arthritis. We'll call gouty arthritis. So these are some set of food that they need to be avoided. The red meat, the alcohol, they also offals. There are also other ones like the sweeteners, like some drinks, the sweet drinks. I also tend to avoid them because they also in these categories, they also urine rich too. They are also risk factors to gouty arthritis, so they need to be avoided.
Okay, thank you very much. As you were just talking, my heart was beating. I'm sad because you're mentioning foods I like. What do you mean by red meat? What do you mean by offals? Hey, God. And then you now said sweet drinks again. Oh, God. There's a lot. But, like, you guys are hearing, you guys are with me. As much as, it's daunting hearing things that I don't like, I have to go and think about it. So I'm sure you're thinking about it, too. And he mentioned avoiding alcohol. I'm sure if you go through all our series by now, and you're still drinking alcohol plenty, do you like your life or not? That's just a question for you. Okay, so doctor, how do you think mental health impacts arthritis, and what are the strategies you would tell your patients to help them cope with the impact of, the mental health impact of arthritis?
Okay, so the patient with arthritis and mental impact. So arthritis in the first place, it can lead to one, lateness to work. It can lead to being absent from work. It can lead to change of jobs. It can also lead to early retirement. And when these people retire early, now they don't have jobs again. Somehow they can't make money. And they'll be confined in one place. They will be depressed. And when depression sets in, and you know what it can actually lead to. So all those states are how the arthritis can affect mental health. And they find it very, very difficult to cope. So in coping mechanisms, they need to sought the help of the psychologist. So it has to be psychotherapy. They also have to the families too, friends too, can also help. The psychotherapy is very important. The involvement of friends, families, because when they have all this, the families can help in different ways. So those are the things that that can be instituted.
Okay, thank you very much. You just touched on my next question, which I was going to ask about, the importance of family and friends. So apparently, it's quite important to have a community around you if you're struggling with arthritis. And this goes to all of us in the audience. I don't feel like you have to isolate yourself just because you're going through, a physical illness or anything like that. Family can be a good support. Doctor just said so himself, because these things tend to, if you have been here with us from the first episode, and I trust that you have, you would know that we have been told that these things impact all round. It's impacting you physically, it's impacting you emotionally, it's impacting your mental health. And what's the best way to have help if not for a community and building a system around you? Your family, your friends, they'll be able to help, shine light on what might want to look like a very, very dark situation. So, doctor, in your, career, in your time dealing with arthritis, do you have any stories of like people who have been able to thrive in life despite having arthritis?
Yes, I've actually seen some of them. So the thing is that I have several of them that have arthritis. So, but one I can remember now is one of them that have osteoarthritis for more than 2 years. So, been coming to visiting clinic visits and all that, adhering to medications. The patient had been coming. The thing is that there was got to a point that the arthritis seemed to not, the pain start getting worse, then even with some medications. And so we got to the point that this patient had, we referred this patient to the orthopedic surgeons. So everything boiling down that the patient had advanced knee osteoarthritis. So the patient was offered surgery. So, but after the surgery, the patient got better. Those one of the stories I had with this patient. So he got to a point that the patient didn't never thought about going to the traditional medicine, because those are one of the things that people think about. When you have arthritis too, you can also go to the traditional bone setters and also. So, but this patient actually followed the doctor's advice, the doctor's medication, getting up to the points. Well, it's a degenerative form of arthritis. This one is osteoarthritis. So got to a point that we used after the medications, also had to add other options to, which is also surgery, because the osteoarthritis has become advanced. So, and he was offered that, she got it, and the patient is thriving well.
No. Thank you. I think this points to the fact that there is definitely hope despite, living with this condition. While you were talking, it just threw my mind back to a movie I watched recently. I think it was the true life adaptation of one of the greatest folk artists somewhere in the UK. And she was, I think, born with, like, she had a degenerative arthritis condition her whole life, but she ended up being able to paint. At some point, even the prime minister, and she got so popular that the prime minister bought one of her paintings. It was a very, very hopeful story. And I think this is where this points to the fact that you can have hope, right? Even with this, you can live a very fulfilling life. Even like in this story the doctor just shared about the patient, it was even degenerative, like you said, had to go all the way to surgery, but there was still improvements in. So it's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the world. There's hope. And as we've discussed in this series, medically advancements are being made consistently to help treat this condition. So we know that there's hope for the future, right? There's lights at the end of the tunnel. It may be even inside the tunnel at this point. So I'd like to ask, what's your top advice for somebody who newly got diagnosed, if somebody just got diagnosed today with arthritis, what would you say to them?
All right, thank you. So what are the advices? Always look out for a rheumatologist. Adherence to medications, regular clinic visits, then try to debunk every myth and adhere strictly to your doctor's advice. You can never go wrong. So those are the things I will advise someone that has been diagnosed of arthritis. So always adhere to your medications. Don't say, you are going to the traditional bone setters or traditional joints. Well, people do that, but I don't know the results they get after that. So when you adhere to your medications, go for regular clinic visits, and adhere to your doctor's instructions, you can't go wrong. So that's the advice I have for people with diagnosed of arthritis. Thank you.
This has been an amazing series on SYNLAB Podcast where we've been discussing about arthritis. So far, we have learned so much. We've learned what arthritis is. We've learned how to cope with arthritis, what lifestyle adjustments to make. We've talked about exercise. We've also talked about treatment options, the kind of medications that apply to arthritis. And we went as far as talking about nutrition, your diet. I don't think there's any aspect that was not touched. We talked about family and community, and we now know how to handle arthritis better. Our doctor gave us a very solid advice in rounding up, saying that if you find yourself, with any of these symptoms, with any of these characteristics that you're dealing with, the first place you should go to is your rheumatologist's office and follow your treatment plan to the T. It will really help. It would really help. So I believe we've learned how to live well with arthritis. This is SYNLAB Podcast. My name is Patsy Mokungah, still your host. Thank you for being here. Remember to like, to comment, share, and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. I'll see you next time. Bye.